All right. So today we are trying to assess where we stand since the last time we connected. So we were discussing through this travel approval app, and we were into this project at Business Logic, and we had completed validation rule and roll up summary field. I think today it's the formula field and then two workflow rules, right? All of you, are you with me on this one? Right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So for formula fields, I have prepared a note. Which is this, if you all can see. And just to give you an idea, I assume you still remember the travel approval data model. So you always have to keep in mind the data model, right? In terms of like any business automations, the email alert, process builder, approval process, anything which you know want to use in your business automation or creating your formula field, roll up summary field, validations rule. You have to kind of identify which object you wanted to apply this configuration. And then you also have to keep in mind which other objects or tables are related to this specific business automation logic which you are building. Like we have seen in roll up summary field and validations rule, right? So validation rule, you can refer fields on the same object as well as on the related objects, right? On the roll up summary field, there is a parent and the child object in master detailed relationships. And then you can apply count, min, max, sum over the child records, the related child records, and show up the summary on the related parent records. So that one we have seen in roll up summary field. So you see that, I mean, not always the situation is like you have to build this configuration on the same object, but most of the time you have to also deal with the related objects into this configurations. The similar concept apply for formula fields as well. So as the name tells us that it's a formula. So formula could be like any mathematical formula, any string operation, like you are concatenating two different strings to generate one final strings, or you want to apply some formula across the date fields, like you have a trip end date and the trip start date, right? On the travel approval record. So you wanted to kind of also create a formula field that will show up how many days are, what is the duration of the trip, for example. So you can apply formula fields on the date fields as well, on the text, on the strings, and similar other fields you can take into consideration. We'll see one helpful Salesforce article about where you can go and refer different fields under different categories. Okay, but we'll just check out a couple of fields with respect to the data model which we are building. So like the formula field, you can create on the same object. So when I say same object, it means you can use the fields. So firstly, you will identify which object you have to create this field upon, right? Like any other fields, formula field is also a field. So you identify your object, you go to fields and relationships section, click on new button, and from the list you select formula field. And then in the formula field editor, you apply or you refer certain fields into your formula. We'll see that one visually as well. But yeah, so you can refer fields from the same object, and you can also refer the fields from the related parent object only. Okay, you cannot refer it the fields from the child object like you can do in the roll up summary field, right? Remember, in the roll up summary field, we create a field on the parent, but that roll-up summary field refers the field on the child object, right? On the child records. For example, if I go to the record and then I try to recall it. Sorry about this. Where is it? Yeah. Remember this minimum expense amount, maximum expense amount, number of expense item, total expenses. So these were my roll-up summary field. It is created on travel approval, but
Sudhi,
yeah.
are you sharing your screen?
Oh, I should have.
No, I can't
Oh
see.
God.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Which
okay. I got confused. I think I was sharing, but yeah, thanks for shouting it out. Yeah, let me share my screen. Okay, now you can see it.
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Oh, thanks,
Yes.
Abbas. Yeah, I thought I'm sharing the screen anyways. But theoretically, you are able to connect, right? So far, whatever I talked here. So you see on the travel approval in the last meeting, we had this total expense, number of expense item, minimum and maximum expense amount. So these fields are on the parent record, but internally, this is a roll-up summary field. And this field is referring the amount field on the related child records, right? So this is in roll-up summary field. Now in formula field, the situation is different. So you can create a field on, you can identify on which object you have to create this formula field. But in the formula field, you can get or you can refer fields from the same object or from the related parent object. You cannot refer the fields on the related child object. Okay, we'll see that. So theoretically, formula field like roll-up summary field, it is also a read-only field. It is calculated at the runtime. I mean, at the time when you save the record and then you get the value on the UI. You cannot edit it. It is calculated, so it's read-only only. Now it is applied on the same object. Okay. So formula field will use the fields from the same object. Okay. And that object could be either parent or child object, right? So if you are creating this field on the child object, formula field can refer the fields from the same object, which is the child object, or it can also refer the fields from the related parent record or grandparent or so on. So it refers the field up in the hierarchy, but roll-up summary field refers the field down in the hierarchy. Okay. Formula field can be created on any kind of relationship like lookup or master detail, but roll-up summary field is only created on master detail, right? Not on the lookup, not on in lookup relationship. So let's see this visually, and then we'll try to understand these points. Okay. So our use case is that on the expense item, right? Let's go to our expense item. So I'm on my travel approval record, and let me open one expense item. Okay. So here I wanted like an agent, a front-end users. Okay. As an end user, I wanted to have a view of what department code this belongs to, and also wanted to see how many number of days this trip is for. Okay. So here, I already have, let me remove that. So you see these like department details and the trip period. So I have already created this formula field, but I will explain you how it has been created. In the expense item, you can see that this is read only, right? There is no pencil icon here, firstly. Okay, and trip period is also read only. So it is a um, it's a field which is calculated during when the record is saved. Okay, just like roll up summary field. So even if I try to edit, click on edit button here, you will see that this field is calculated upon save. Okay, so similar to roll up summary field, this is also formula field is also calculated when the record is saved, because it does calculation during save time, during save operation. Okay, so I have already created a formula field called department details, and you see it is concatenating two fields. One is a department name, okay, another is the department code, and it is delimited by a special character hyphen. Okay, and trip period also, again, it calculates the number of days for which this trip is created. Right now, just try to think. On the expense item, I don't have any department code or department name, right? I don't have any start date or end date field here, right? Then how I'm able to get the data or get the value, right? So it happens like this. Let me also open up the schema builder so that we can understand this clearly. Okay, if you can see, so at topmost of the data model or data hierarchy, if you see object hierarchy, I have the department. Then department has travel approval as the child. Okay, and there is a lookup relationship. Now travel approval has expense item as the child, and there is a master detail relationship. Okay, now I'm I'm creating two fields on expense item. See, as an agent, if I have to understand what, now assume that these two fields are not here. Okay, this department details and trip period. So as an agent, if I have to know what is which department this expense item belongs to, or how many what's the trip, what is the period of my trip, how I can do so? I mean, I'm on expense item, so I will have to go to my related parent record, which is travel approval. I click on it, and then from here I can know that, okay, there is trip start date, there is trip end date, right? So I will, what my calculation would be, my formula would be trip end date minus trip start date. Okay, so it will give me the number of days in between. Okay, so if I am on expense item, I have to, as an agent, I have to make one click so that I go to my travel approval record. And again, here also, again, I'll have to do a calculation, right? Manual calculation as of now. So let's say the days are like it's the range is very big, 30, 40, 50 number of days, right? So in that case, either you do it manually or use some other tools to calculate the trip period. Okay, so that's the second challenge. The third one, the other, now about the other field called department details. That department details is not on expense item, that is not on the related parent, which is travel approval record. That is available on the related grandparent record, which is department. Now, if I click on it, here I can get department name and then the department code. Okay, so if I have to get or show the data on the object, and the data is coming from the parent or the grandparent object, in that case, if the agent is on the, let's say, on the bottom of the object hierarchy, if the agent is looking onto the expense item record, for agent to see the data from the travel approval, all the department, the agent will have to make a click on the related parent link on the expense item, then on the related department link on the travel approval to see the data. right? So there is a lot of a click, lot of there is two or three times change in the page layout. So in IT or in software development, right, average handling time, there is something called AST. Okay, how much time an agent kind of takes to resolve a customer query or something, or to do his or her task, right? So uh, if the data is on different objects, right, there is a number of clicks, a number of change in screens, and the user experience or the agent experience is not that good. Okay, so that's why formula field is very much handy to fetch the data from the related parent or the grandparent record if there is a relationship. Okay, uh, and also to do some kind of mathematical calculations. Okay, mathematical calculations, right, like trip end date minus trip start date. Okay, so if the trip spans across what 30-90 days, then you will have to do some calculation, right? 15 days in this month, 30 days in next month, and then 20 days in other month, or 15 days, and then you sum it up. You have to manually sum it up. But using the formula field, you can let the system does the calculation for you and show the final result. Does that make sense to all of you theoretically?
Yes.
Abbas?
Yeah, it does. Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's go to our use case. So I'm going back to my expense item. Okay, and I'm going to remove my two fields. So it is similar to that. You click on new and select what is your formula. Where is this? You have to select formula field. Okay, so it is a read only field that drives its value from a formula expression you define. Okay, so the formula field is updated when any of the source field changes. Okay, this is very much simple. So let me just take a screenshot of it. Click on next, and the step is as usual. You have to give like department, any meaningful name, department details or something. Okay, and then this is an important thing. Now you do some formula, right? So formula returns some data, right? So what type of return type you are expecting from this formula? Is it like some true and false kind of result you are expecting from this formula? Then you'll have to select checkbox. What is the return type or the outcomes of this formula? If it is a currency, like calculate some amount, currency amount, and then do some sum up and then return the value. Is it returning some date? Okay, like there is a date and you are adding or subtracting a defined number of days. Okay, if you are doing some calculation like date on date time, if the return type is like a numeric value, if the return type is like some kind of percentage. Okay, like you are giving some discount. Okay, so in that case you are applying some formula on these fields: amount, discounted amount, and slash. Okay, so it's a mathematical calculation. Are you doing some kind of string operation, a text operation, like concatenating two different fields, first name and last name, and then returning the final uh, result into this field? Or is it like time? Okay, so this is an interview question. Okay, or and exam question as well. So they can give like some kind of formula. Okay, and they can ask or say that what would be the result or the response returned from this formula. So they can give some option. Always remember, these are the only return types or the data types that will be returned as the calculation result from this formula. If the answer is like let's say pick list, okay, or a text area long, okay, or lookup. So you don't see other data types, right? Like we see when we click on new fields. So it only returns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 types of data after its calculation. So keep in mind. Let me take a screenshot of it. Okay, one important feature which Salesforce has released recently in the latest release, one of the past release. So anytime we create a field, right, it auto add this field to your custom report type. Now report type is something which is done when you create a report. Have we gone through report now? Right? No, right? We don't have gone through any reports feature. Roshan?
Not till now.
Okay, not okay. So yeah, this is one thing which you remember this, add this field to existing custom report types that contains this entity. So earlier this feature was not there. And if you have a report on the expense item and you create a new field, that new field is not available in the report builder. Okay. So you will have to manually, you will have to go to, as an admin, someone has to go to that custom report type and then add this newly created field to the custom report type so that this field becomes available in the report builder to be included in the report result. Now Salesforce has come up with this and they have added this, they are adding this by default, but you can always uncheck this. So this is one new feature and you may expect a question from this one as well. We'll talk about this when we also, or ask me about this when we discuss about report types, reports and dashboards. Okay, so once you identify what is the return type, for example, in our use case is that on expense item as an end user, I wanted to have a view of what is the department code. Okay, so I have given a name department details, and department code is like it returns a text, right? So I will select text. It's a alphanumeric value, right? So I'm selecting text, click on new. Okay, it's already there. I've already created, so make it unique. Now here you see there is two options, simple formula, advanced formula. Let's use advanced formula because we'll get, let me go back to simple. So simple one is you'll have to manually use the, select this one, but advanced formula gives you a simple, a very hierarchical visual representation of how to select or which field to add into this formula. See, we are on expense item. Our field is on department object, right? Then how do we fetch the related department object fields or value and show it on the related expense item? So you click on insert item. I clicked on insert item, and remember in the last session I told you that wherever you see this angle bracket, right, it means we are switching
child.
from child to parent object. Okay. But if I select any other field, it means it is on the expense item. Okay. But if I select travel approval, it means the other box which appears, they are the fields on the travel approval. Okay. Now on the travel approval, we have what? Department. So where is department? We have this department. This is a lookup field, but we don't need the lookup field. We need the object. So if you have to get the object, you have to select the angle bracket one. Okay. So we have switched from, we have hopped from expense item to travel approval object. Other options which you see here, right? They are the fields on the expense item. Okay. Now I selected travel approval because our field is on the departments. So I have to go through travel approval. There is no direct relationship between expense item and the department. So you have to go via travel approval object. So expense item, it is related to travel approval. Travel approval is related to department. And now when I selected department object, I got all the fields on the present on the department. So now here I see department. So my business wants to create or to concatenate department name and department code and show it on the expense item. So I select my department code. Let me take a screenshot of this. Current object, parent object, grandparent object, and these are grandparent fields. So I switched from here to here, here to here, and here to here. Okay, this is the field. So when we select a field, right, Salesforce will automatically create a merge field for you. I mean, how does it fetches the value? So you click on it, it will insert into the place wherever you put your cursor. So see how the expression has been built. Travel approval _R, okay, and then the department _R, and then .name C. So _R means there it represents the object. Okay, _C represents the field. So if I show you, let me open the fields in a separate tab. On the expense item, I have this, where is travel approval? Yeah. So this is the lookup field. But I don't have to get the field. I have to go to the object. Okay. So in that case, wherever there is a relationship field, right? If you replace the last C with R, it means you have or you are on the object. I'm going back to my schema builder here. So I'm on expense item. This travel approval is a lookup field on the expense item. But if I have to jump or hop onto travel approval object, you know, so I have to use travel approval lookup field and replace _C with _R. So when I replace _C with _R, I am on travel approval object. Okay. And then on travel approval, I have department, right? Okay. So I don't have to get the department field. I have to go to department object. So in that case, whatever is the lookup field API name, right? I will have to replace _C with _R. Okay, this is what I have done. I'm on expense item. So I'm trying to explain you how to read through this field which has been generated, which we have been inserted, which we have got through the navigation and finally inserting it at the right place. So _R, we are on the travel approval object. see, if this is like this, right, it means it will simply show you the department. It won't show you the department fields, but we have to get the department fields, and department fields are on the department object. So we have to go to object first. So now we are on the department object, and now on the department, I have to get which field. So first field is name. Then I'll have to what? I'm using a plus operator. So concatenate, which is this. And we are using this concatenate. Then we have to insert travel approval, department, and then code. Okay. So I selected my right fields and it is here. Let's check it out. Okay. No syntax error, fine. And this is a text. So I don't want to show the 0. If there is nothing, I want to show it as a blank. If this were number, right, then in that case, I could have selected a 0. Now save it. Okay. So once you save it, this is how it will appear. I've already created, so I'm going to open the department details. So once you save it, this is how it will appear. Okay. So you can use also plus operator as well to add 2 different strings. So is this clear how we prepared this formula?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
this is our first formula, and our field was on the grandparent object, which is department in this case. Okay. Similarly, the next field is to find the trip period. So a trip period, similarly, you click on new, select formula as the field type, give a name trip period, and this will return a number, right? This is a formula which will return a number. So you should select number in the return type, and then you have to apply the formula. Okay. So this is how the formula will look like. Let me do it. So our field is on travel approval. So this time we didn't go onto the department object, right? We simply go to the travel approval object from expense item. And because we have to use the fields from the travel approval. So travel end date minus, then again, go to which field? Trip start date on the travel approval object. So trip end date minus trip start date. This is our formula. And here I selected 0. I didn't selected blank. I selected 0 because it's for me, it makes sense, right? If there is no differences, then so 0 as the like if the trip starts today and ends today, then like let's say it's 0. So did you get this formula as well?
Yes.
Okay. And hence, if I go to my expense item, you will see that it is calculating trip period as well, 14. Let's try to verify. So trip period is using trip start date and end date on the related travel approval record. So let's go to travel approval record and try to find out if we can get 14 days between them or not. So 28 August and 14 August. So there is a 14 days difference, which is correct. Now let's go to the related department. So it is what? Department name is IT, and then the code is IT101. So IT-IT101 would be the final result. And that is what is displayed on the expense item. Okay. So if I go to any other expense item, let's say I selected this. So here again, you will see the results. Does that make sense to you, all of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So it doesn't matter wherever you are creating a formula. You can start, you just have to identify which is the on which object you wanted to create a formula and show the final result. So you identify your object. Now you ask which field you have to include into your formula calculation. Okay, let me write it down, then it can make a sense. Algorithm. What should be the right thinking process? Algorithm. Okay, so step one, identify the object where you will create formula field. Step two, identify which fields is taking part in your formula field. Okay, step. So in step two, it could be like same object, right? Your field may come from the same object. It could be like your parent object, fields from same object. It can include fields from parent object. It can include fields from grandparent object, and so on. Okay, here is a question to all of you. Okay, let's say it's your homework. Is there any limit on the number of object you can traverse? Is there any limit on the number of object you can traverse to prepare your formula? I mean, like child object. For example, what I mean to say, let's say there is a grandchild object. So you are creating a formula on the grandchild object. So how far you can go? Let's say you are creating formula field on the grandchild objects. Okay, so how far you can go? Grandchild
After the parent or parent child.
how should I name it? Abbas, you help us. So this is one thing. Then here is our child, current child. Okay, I mean current generation, or this is like we are in future generation. Okay, okay.
Great grandchild.
Great grandchild. Okay. This is great grandchild. Let's say it like grandchild, then child, then parent, then grandparent, then great grandparent. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 and so on. So question is there any limit? You will have to find out. Okay, you can go out and search for Salesforce help an article. You can do some Google and come up with don't come up with any blogs. Okay, always look out for Salesforce official guide or Salesforce help and training articles. Okay, because the blogs keeps on getting old. Okay, so always refer the official document. Okay, so you identify which object you have to create a field. Now identify which fields are taking part in your formula. Now the fields can come from the same object, can from parent, grandparent, great grandparent, but it always be up in the upward hierarchy. You cannot go down the down hierarchy like you can do using roll-up summary field. Okay. Now, once you find out, where is it? Now, step 3, identify what will be the return type. Okay, so remember that 8 options. So that is also important. And what else? Yeah, that's pretty much the steps which you'll have to follow, and then it can perform your calculations and show it on the on this one. Okay. Okay, so we did this use case. Fine. Let's talk about one other use case from this example. Okay, create formula field. And so the requirement is, interrupt me if you have any questions, because I'm going into a different use case here. No questions in whatever we discussed?
No question from me.
Okay. Okay, so here is an important thing. How do we use formula to show some kind of image indicator or visual indicator or any image file? Okay, so let's try to understand our use case here. You create a field on travel approval object which shows a visual indicator, which will be an image basically. And that image, I mean, which image will show up, that is based on the value of the status field. Okay, so right now, if we go to our travel approval record, any one record, you will see that in the status, we have new, submitted, approved, rejected, draft kind of values. So let's say I wanted, if it is rejected, then so red or thumbs down, or red flag. Okay, if it is approved, then so thumbs up kind of image, or so green flag. Okay, if it is any one of the value, then so something like amber flag, or some kind of other image which is meaningful for this option. Okay, so let's go back to use case here. So for example, one image displays for a rejected, different image for approved approval. So why do we need a visual indicator, right? So see, for a human being, an image tells more than text, right? Similarly, a video can convey more information than what an image or a text can do. Okay. Okay, so here we needed to show some kind of visual image for different status value. And how we can do that, let's try to understand. Okay, so now since we are doing this travel approval, so it has already provided you some GIF file where you can get those images, but you can get your own images as well, but you have to work with then the width and height of those images anyhow to use it. Now you get your status images GIF file under this travel approval project files, which you have downloaded. Go to that file and you will find this GIF file, unzip it, and then you will get your individual images. Now, how do you upload those images into Salesforce? So there is something called static resource. Okay. So this is a step where you can go and find static resource. Again, this is an admin stuff. So you'll have to go to a setup, your setup view. So I go to my setup, and here I search static. Okay. I have already uploaded here status images. So how do you do? Let's try to understand this. So use static resource to upload content that you want to reference in your page. And your content may include any GIF file, jar file, images, style sheet, JavaScript files, and any other files. Okay. So these files can be uploaded here within your org, and then those files can be referenced in your formula field, in your Apex code, in your Visual Force page. Okay. Okay. How do you upload it? Click on new button and then give a meaningful name. And finally, click on choose file to upload it from locally from your laptop system. Okay. And then cache control setting controls API access to restrict access to authenticated user. Set cache control to private. So this is something where if we have to expose our, see, a static resource is internally saved into your org, right? So if you have a customer facing website, for example, if you are using community, a community cloud of Salesforce, okay, portal or experience cloud or sites of Salesforce, and you are exposing some of the static resources outside, okay, so those, how do you want it to expose it? So does the user need some kind of authentication first before accessing them? So that kind of control, cache control, you can apply it here. But for now, you can give public or whatever, it doesn't matter for our case. But just make sure of it that you can apply cache control here as well. Okay, now and upload and then save it, and that's how it will be saved into your system. I had uploaded these status images. Okay, and this is a GIF file in the GIF format. So let me take a screenshot of it. So you got the idea, right? What is static resource? You will get one question from here. Okay, in your day-to-day job, in your interview, in your exam. Okay, so any files which you wanted to upload and you wanted to refer those files in Visual Force pages or Lightning pages or your formula fields. Okay, so you can do so, and these files could be in your GIF file, jar file, images, your style sheet, CSS file, JavaScript, and other files. Okay. Now, once I've uploaded these files, you give a name, you choose your GIF file, and then cache control public. And this is how you upload, and it's done. Now, how do you refer these fields into your formula field, right? Into our use case. Okay. So let me go to my those folders which I had uploaded. So this was the status images files which has been uploaded. Sorry, downloaded from the Trailhead. Let me unzip it. And here it is. So these are the images: thumbs up, thumbs down, and draft. Okay. But let's try to see how we can use this in a formula, and based on certain pick list values, you can render or you can display different images. Okay. So it's simple. You have to use a formula field. You identify your object. In this case, it is travel approval. Okay. Go to fields and relationship, click formula field. Okay. And give a field label status indicator. In this case, the formula return type would be text. Okay. And this is the formula. You simply copy it from here and paste it. And then that's done. But I will help you understand what does this formula mean. But before that, let's see our demo. So this is my record. I have removed that formula, sorry, those images from here. So let me go back to the object and add it back. Okay, so I had added in compact layout. Either you can add it on page layout or compact layout. It depends on you. Let me add it on the compact layout. On compact layout is the highlight panel, which you see on the record. And where is status indicator, right? Save it. You can add it on the page layout. So I'm going to add it on the both, on both layout, but you don't have to replicate the same data on the same layout, right? So you can always keep it at one of the places. But for our demo, I'm just going to use it. Status.
What is the difference between page and compact layout?
Okay, so do you know what is compact layout? Sorry, have you seen compact layout on any record? No, right? Okay. This top banner, you see,
Yes. I do.
this is highlight panel. Okay. Initially there is what? Start date, end date, and out of
So
state, right?
ended
I
and out
just
of
added a
station.
fourth. I just added a fourth field, right? So if I refresh,
I2 interface.
you see it.
Yes.
So highlight panel, you have to keep the key fields on the top for the agents to to make quick judgment or to take quick decision. So I think there is a limit on the number of fields that can appear on here. I think it's 6. So there is a 5 or 6 maximum fields which you can show on this highlight panel. And below one is the page layout. Details and related are the part of page layout, like we have discussed in the user interface module. Make sense?
So the highlight panel is known as compact layout.
Yes, yes. So any fields which you want to display on the highlight panel, you have to configure or add those fields on the compact layout. Okay.
Okay.
Now you see see, if I make it draft, same, but if I make it approved, okay, so there is a validation rule. Let me go and delete this. Status is required and user can enter only. Okay, let me get rid of it. That may not be a valid, not, where is this one, right? So let me deactivate it for now. So in real life also, you may find some that kind of validation rule or problem. So either you have to consult with the BA or with the person from where you are getting the requirement to understand if this new requirement needs to be updated or your existing validation rule has to be updated. Okay, so that's a part of your requirement analysis and all. Now let me save it approved. You see it automatically got changed, right? Because this image is shown or configured to come up whenever it is
Validation.
approved. When I click on rejected, it thumbs down. So based on a different field value, we are able to display images. Okay. Makes sense?
Yes, yes.
I will talk about the formula, how it has been written, but functionally, does it make sense? Like in terms of the requirement. So the requirement was
Yes.
to show thumbs up for approved, to show thumbs down for rejected, and to show gear icon or that cog icon for all other values. Okay. So our requirement was, where is it? This one. Let me open up the formula, copy it, and yeah. So you got it. So our use case is this use case number 2. So you have to, the business asks us to create a field on the travel approval object that shows a visual indicator, which is an image file based on the value of status field. Okay. For example, red image displays for rejected approval, green image displays for approved travel approval request, and a different image for all other status. Why the business needs this feature, this requirement? Because this provides a quick and simple way for users of the system to get an indicator of status for a travel approval request. Okay. Does this make sense? This requirement. Okay. So how did you create it? How did you create this? Let me open up a notepad. Notepad++. We can have proper indentation there. Okay. Okay. So we are using if the pick list value of status is approved, then show this image. Okay. Else, if the pick list value of status is rejected, then show thumbs down image. Okay. Else show the draft image. Okay. Now, what is the syntax of if clause? Let's go and try to understand. Okay. So our is if. This is the syntax, logical expression. If the logical expression result is true, then it will execute the second parameter. Okay. If the logical expression result is false, then it will execute the third parameter. Okay.
So okay, I guess that's for the if statement, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you can have more complex
Yeah.
if statement. Like
Yeah.
that.
So here it has used nested if statement. One is if inside another if. I will show you how. Yeah. And this is what I'm trying to explain you. See. So I'm going to use proper spacing and alignment. So keep notice that one. So our this is our formula, right? So let me just add it here. I'm going to put a proper spacing and have separate lines. Okay, so this is our one if statement. This is combined one inside another, so it may be difficult to understand, but I'm just doing this for visualization purpose. If you don't understand, it will be difficult to understand. Okay, so and what is the syntax for image formula? So there is an image formula. This is the syntax for image. So I'm just segregating them separately. Okay, so image has this. Okay, so image has image URL. Then you can provide any meaningful name of that image, and optionally this means optional. Optionally you can provide height and width. Okay, so just forget about everything. Wherever I will highlight, you just focus on that part. So if you try to see this image, right, this image formula, this starts from here and there is a closing bracket here, right? So the first parameter, which is this comma separated, this is the image URL, which is this. Let me okay, so if you focus on this one, let's say not this one. So this is the complete image. Hold on, let me take again. So this is our image formula. What I'm going to do, I'm just trying to map it out. Okay, so this is our formula of image, right? My intention is to map each parameter with whatever we have in here. So if you see this, so we have three parameter here, right? Comma separated this one, then within quote this one, and then this one, and then this, right? Okay, so this is a hold on. Okay, so this image URL refers to this image URL. Alternate text refer to whatever meaningful text I am going to provide for this image. This is the height and this is the width. Okay, similarly for other images, you can see this is the image URL. This is the text value for this image. Next one is the height and then the width. Similarly for this third image formula, this one is the image URL within double quote. Then second one is the alternate text for this image. Then height and the alternate text is right. Let's say the image is not accessible in some case. Then in that case, your alternate text will be displayed. You might have seen some website that image is not visible, but it is showing some text, internal text. That is called alternate text if the image is not visible to the user. Does this make sense, this image formula?
Yes.
Okay, now, so image is fine. So what I'm going to do, this is our final formula on the top. I'm going to frame the final formula in this one. And how we do this, let us try to see this. So our logical test is, the first one is this. So if pick list value of status is approved, okay, So you might just recall the previous sessions, one of the previous sessions where we have used isSpeakVal. So if isSpeakVal, if pick list value of status is approved, if it is true, then this will be executed, right? Otherwise, this will be executed. Okay. So if it is true, if it is approved, then I want to display this is my image formula for thumbs up, right? So this is how this is the path of my image. So internally, it is in static resource that is represented by /resource. Okay. Then status image is the name of the file. Let's try to recollect. /resource is it means it is telling the system that go to static resource. This is what /resource means. Then /status is the name of the file, status image. Okay. Then / within the file, within the zip folder, within the zip file, which image file you are looking for. So our image file name is thumbs up. If you see our local folder, this is our thumbs up image file name, right? The other image file name is thumbs down, and the other one is draft. Okay. So this becomes our relative URL to our thumbs up file in the static resource. And this is how it is written. /resource / the static resource name, then / the individual file name. And just now we understood how to write an image formula. So you have your image URL, then alternate text, then height and width. So I'm going to take this, copy this, and trying to add this in the appropriate place. So if this is approved, then this has to be executed, right? So I'm going to replace this, use this, right? If this is not true, then what should it will execute this part of the expressions, right? So here again, I will add another if statement. Okay. So I'm going to add this. Okay. So this is my another if inside this, right? So this will be executed when it is not approved. And now in this case, here I'm going to say rejected, right? If the isSpeakVal is rejected, then I have to show thumbs down image, right? So this is the thumbs down image formula. Okay. Else I will have to show the thumbs, sorry, in process. So this is the in process formula. And this is what the final formula. See, the first part is very, clumsy and confusing, but now the way, if it has been structured like this, it becomes very much readable, right? Does this make sense to all of you?
Yes.
Nabas, all clear? Sitara?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you have to write a nested if you're inside any formula field. And this is how you will have to refer a file within the static resource. So how does it happen? Let me use the same one here. If just in terms of how to write an image URL. So it starts with /resource. If you have to refer anything inside static resource, it always the path will always start with /resource. It means you are within static resource. And what is the name of your static resource? Name of static resource, then / and then name of file. Okay, that's all. Okay. Any questions from formula field? No?
No. Sudeep, I mean,
Mhm.
when you upload the videos, how long do you take to upload the video? Do you upload it every week or every other week?
Every week, yeah, every week. I mean, after our session, it will be recorded. Then I will start uploading on the YouTube. So I can load this one today.
Okay.
Okay. Does it answer your query? Anything which you
Yeah,
specific?
it does. It does.
Okay.
Because the reason why I ask is I think the last session that we had
Mhm.
was having some issues accessing it. I mean, when I go to the YouTube channel,
Mhm. Now,
I
are
could
you
only
able to access them or not? Now,
um the last time I tried, I wasn't able to.
okay. Hold on. Last time I had replied to you. Hold on. This one
Oh,
on
yeah.
yeah. Here I applied that. It should work now because last time it was unlisted playlist. Okay, so I had to explicitly share it with the specific people. So I have now
Okay.
made it public, and now you should be able to access. Can you open this one right now?
Let me see. Because you have how many you have
For
you have
Mhm.
four,
Let me open it up.
is it four?
Six, total six.
Yeah, six, yeah. Yeah, I can see it now. Can see the validation rule, right?
Okay.
And
Mhm. I will tell you
roll of summary.
yeah, I will
Yeah,
tell you
that's
what
the roll of summary.
yeah. I'll tell you
I
what
can
is
see it now.
what was the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. It was not made public. One other thing you will notice that there is a note to each playlist, and this specific playlist case management, it is recorded for an older Empowerforce batch. But if you go to our recordings, our batch recordings, so here I've added a note. This is recorded for Empowerforce 4.0 batch, which is our batch. Okay. If you see the roll-up summary field, this is again fourth batch. But if you see other one, right, it is recorded for older batch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I will go and upload this formula field one, and you should be able to see it in here.
Okay.
Okay.
There, in the playlist, there is an extra video.
What, Roshan?
In your playlist, there is an extra video. I think
Oh, I don't know
it is a
how.
song.
Yeah, how does that
It is a
happen?
song.
Okay, I'll
It is a
remove.
song.
I think any video which I would have liked or do
It could.
something, it would come up in that list.
It
But I'll
got
remove.
reflected.
I will
Yes.
I will remove. I don't know how it's coming up. Is it YouTube which is doing this?
By saving, it could be by saving in your playlist.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so back to our thing here. Things all clear from this one, right? I
Yeah.
have I would have already shared you the formula filled help article in the previous sessions. So that is also remember? I think so. If I go back to, because invalidation rule also uses some formulas, and okay, anyway, let me go. I can share it again here as well. Where is it? Static resource formula. Yeah. Click on this help on this function. And after this, we'll end up the session and we'll look into the next. Yeah, this is the one. So calculate formula. Yeah. So where are the formulas used? Approval process, auto response, assignment rule, custom field like we did. Okay. And yeah, this will contain the information which you would need to know. There is a list of areas where you can create formula field. Done. Yeah. So formula operators and functions. So you can use formulas on mathematical formula, logical text, date time, logical, mathematical text summary, advanced functions. So this is the place where you can go and explore or look into other formulas, or if you come across any issues in real time project in companies or wherever, this is the place where you can find what all formulas are available that can be used. Okay, so let me add it in here. So that's all for today. I'm going to stop the recording. Okay, and then we can
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sudeep. I know you did mention that you'd like to have maybe one extra session.
oh yeah, yeah, I'm glad you raised it. Let me
No,
stop the
yeah.
recording and then we can discuss. I'm just
Okay. All right.
thank you.